It's cold and rainy here, and I can't think of anything better to have for dinner than this wonderful Southern comfort food, pinto beans and cornbread. Also, I'm going to show you some more of our Christmas decor, so stay tuned. Hey friends, welcome back to Simply Home and Harvest. Well, it is a very soggy day today. It's a Monday. I'm not fixing up today, and I'm sorry about that for y'all, but I wanted to pull the camera out and record what we're having for dinner because we've got rain coming for the next 3 days. I've really been wanting to make some good Southern pinto beans and some cornbread. I've got a ham bone that's been in the freezer for probably a good year now, and so I thought I would use that tonight and get some beans started. However, I did not think this ahead and just decided to do this morning. So I have not soaked my beans, which typically you want to do that before you start pinto beans. So I'm going to do a quick soak on them, and I hope that will yield the same results. And then we're just going to let those cook all day. I may pair it with some macaroni and cheese in the crock pot because the kids really like to have that with the pinto beans. And then we're gonna make some cornbread to go with it as well. So that's the plan for dinner tonight. Even though I wasn't planning to film today, I just felt like I wanted to grab the camera and capture this because we're getting into cold weather season, and there is nothing to me more comforting than a good bowl of pinto beans and cornbread. So y'all hang out with me today. We'll get that done. I've got lots of cleaning and laundry to do today. I don't know if I'll show you that stuff, but what I might do is add in some of the other areas of the home that I did not get to show you in the Christmas home tour. So I might show you some of the Christmas trees downstairs today. All right, so I rinsed about this is about 3 cups of dry pinto beans, and I'm just gonna get those into our Dutch oven here. I'm going to cover these beans with about 2 inches of water, like cover them maybe 2 inches of water above the beans, and then we're going to bring these to a boil, let them boil for a couple of minutes, and then let them sit for an hour. That is supposed to mimic soaking them overnight. So hopefully that will work. I've never done it this way. Typically I soak them overnight, but the back of the bag of beans said that this was a way to do that. So we're going to go this route and see if it works. Now that we have dinner underway, I thought we'd head downstairs and I'll show you some more of our Christmas decor. So this is the little landing spot right on our staircase. And I don't have a whole lot of room up here, but I just tried to pop some of my extra Christmas decor from upstairs down here. So you'll see a lot of familiar looking pieces. But this is, I would say, like Alex's man cave. Might as well be his bedroom. This is where he spends most of his time. It doubles as a family room. It's also an office. It's where he does all his schoolwork. So I wanted to add a few Christmas touches, and because we are Duke fans, and especially Alex is very much a Duke fan, I thought it would be fun to make some Duke themed Christmas trees. There's a look at our snowman there, and I also did add in some snowflakes and things. But this is the first of the Christmas trees. So all of these are going to be in that Duke blue, that royal blue, silver, white. I really didn't have a lot of that color scheme in my Christmas ornament collection, so I ran up to our local Family Dollar and ended up picking up a container of ornaments in the exact color that I wanted. $10 is all I paid, and it was like 80 ornaments. So I think I used just about every one on the 3 trees that I'm going to show you. But I had a lot of the stuff already. Like that is actually a burp cloth from a collection that a friend of mine handmade for me. It was like burp cloths and blankets and all kinds of stuff she made for Alex when he was a baby. And the little snowman was also something that was given to Alex. So, you know, I had those things already. I had all of the garland, the ribbon that you see there, and the trees, of course, we already had. But all of these ornaments, every single one of them came from that container that I bought at Family Dollar. So there is a tip for you. I have been able to find some things from the dollar store this year to make trees just so beautiful. I used, this is actually like a dinner napkin that I already had on hand in the black and white. And of course, you know, I have a lot of black and white, so that tied back to all this Duke blue so well. This tree was actually going to go in Alex's room, but he decided to keep it down here. So we did end up with 3 trees downstairs, and that's okay. I don't mind having extra trees. This one over here is probably the largest one of all of them down here, and I used Alex's baby blanket that, like I said, a friend of mine made for him when he was a baby, to use that as the tree skirt. And then I made these ornaments, which I'm going to insert a video of that, and I just Mod Podged. I just printed out the Duke Blue Devils logo and just Mod Podged it on the ornaments that you see there. I already had the garland, and I did already have the snowflake ornaments with the gingham ribbon. I did have those in my collection, and there's a couple of other Duke Blue Devil ornaments that we've had over the years that Alex used in his tree in his bedroom. So those, like that one right there, and there's a polar bear, we already had, but the rest came from Family Dollar. Now, I know not everyone is a Duke Blue Devils fan, I get that, but I wanted to show you how you can make any kind of sports themed tree that you'd like. All you need really is a printer, some Mod Podge, some ornaments, and just your creativity and your imagination. Pull out your team colors, throw a scarf around the bottom or a piece of material, even like an old jacket. If you weren't wearing like an old sports jacket or something that maybe a child has outgrown, you could use that as well. I mean, really the sky's the limit with creativity, but it's just so much fun to create. So I really enjoyed putting these trees together, and I hope you enjoyed seeing them. All right, I'm back upstairs. The beans are boiling now. I'm gonna let them boil for a couple of minutes. And I was thinking maybe I would cook these in the slow cooker, but now that we've already got this pot out, I'm thinking maybe I'll just continue to cook them all day. I'm going to be here anyway, and we'll just do them on the stove top in the stock pot. So I think the key is just to keep water in them and just let them continue to cook and get tender and cook down for a few hours. I don't know if I've ever made them this way. It has not been often. Normally I do them in the slow cooker. So we're going to try this today, and I really don't think we're going to have trouble with it, but we'll see. All right, so we're going to cook it on the stove top. I let it sit for just a little bit, so you can see these beans are already starting to get tender, and they're going to need a few more hours of cook time though. Here is our ham bone that we got out of the freezer. I'm going to add in a couple of teaspoons of minced garlic. Season it up a little bit. I'm also going to add a little bit of salt, but not much, because you know this ham is going to make things plenty salty. So we'll taste it once we're done and just see where we are spice wise. Can't find the other seasonings right off that I'm looking for, so I'm going to go searching for them. I want to cover our beans a little bit more, so I'm going to add some chicken broth. You could just do this with water, but I had this in the pantry and I thought it would add some good flavor. So I'm going to try, as this cooks down, we'll add more liquid to it, but I'm just going to make sure our beans are covered there. And then I'm going to turn the heat up, let this get back to a simmer, and then I'm just going to let it simmer, like I said, throughout the day. As the meat starts coming off this bone, it's going just to add so much flavor to those beans. Then at the end of the cook time, I like a thicker pinto bean, like a thicker sauce. So I'll probably add a little bit of a slurry to it by using some cornstarch and some maybe bean juice and just stirring that up and then adding it back to the pot here. Like I said, we may make some mac and cheese to go with it and some cornbread, but we're just going to basically let this cook low and slow for the rest of the day. We're going to get this macaroni and cheese together really quick, and you've seen me do this a couple of times before, so I'm just going to kind of talk you through what I've already done. Now, I'm making a half batch to what I normally do, so this is 8 ounces of cooked macaroni noodles that I've drained. I did spray the inside of this slow cooker, and then I'm going to add to it 1 stick, or that's half a cup of melted butter. And I just like to give that a stir. And then in this bowl, we have 2 eggs that I've already beat. And then I've got a can of evaporated milk, salt and pepper. And I've mixed that together. And I just kind of temper this a little bit because there are eggs in there. So I'm just going to put a little bit of macaroni in here just to get it used to the temperature so that we don't end up with scrambled eggs. And then we will mix it in. Just kind of gradually. I can link back to a full video on this with all the steps, but you should get the general idea here. This is very easy. And it comes together so quickly, and it is a delicious macaroni and cheese recipe. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna get some cheddar cheese shredded. You do 2 cups mixed in with your macaroni mixture, and then I just sprinkle 1 cup of shredded cheese on top for this particular recipe. I'm going to cover it and let it cook for about 3 hours, 3 to 4 hours on low. And you do not lift the lid. This is one that you don't have to stir because you want it to get kind of that baked consistency. And that's all there is to it. Here's our 2 cups of shredded cheese. This is like a cheddar Monterey Jack or cheddar mozzarella blend. Here, I'll show you just a second. It's this mozzarella and cheddar. That's what we had on hand. So that's what I'm using. But any cheese you prefer will work well with this. And then I'm just going to sprinkle this extra on top. All right, lid goes on. This will cook, like I said, for about 3.5 to 4 hours on low. All right, I thought I would give you guys a little progress report. These have probably been cooking for a good 3.5 hours, I would say. And look how that ham has just fallen off the bone. I'm going to have to dig the bone out of here. But there's not much ham left on the bone, which is what we want. And the bean juice is kind of thickening up on its own the more it cooks. And I have been adding more liquid. I added chicken stock, and then I switched over to water once our chicken stock was used up. So I'm going to let this keep cooking maybe for another hour, just because it's only 3:47. So we got some time left before dinner. And I don't know if I will add that slurry or not. Maybe we'll just kind of wait and see what it looks like here in a little bit. But definitely looking good and smelling amazing. All right, I believe our beans are done. I still haven't fished the bone out, but look how thick they are where I've turned the heat down. So we are definitely not going to add any kind of thickening agent to these. They are absolutely perfect. They almost look like I may have cooked them a little too long. Because they almost look like a refried bean. But this bone, there it is right there. We're going to dig that out. And I'll have to do that with 2 hands. And then these are ready for dinner. They look so delicious. I believe our mac and cheese is also ready. And we will probably just turn this off. It's not quite time to eat yet. But I wanted to show you how it's just kind of like pulling away from the sides. And see what it looks like on the inside. That's going to be really, really good. Okay, I'm going to start on the cornbread. All right, we're making a very simple cornbread mix. I am going to use a self-rising cornmeal. And I just cut out the bottom, the back of the bag and taped it onto this. And I just keep my cornmeal in it. So I go by these instructions. And so this is 2 cups, which I've already measured out, of self-rising yellow cornmeal mix. And then we're going to add to it 1.25 cups of whole milk, cold it says, 1 large egg lightly beaten, and 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. Now, this is all the milk that we have is just buttermilk. So that's what we're going to use, and it's probably going to make it absolutely amazing. So I'm going to get that measured out, 1 1/4 cups. It's a good way to use up our buttermilk too, because sometimes I'll buy that for something special and then I will forget about it. All right, so that's going in. And then I'm going to crack our 1 egg right in here. I forgot to show myself adding the egg and the oil. So that was just a 1/4 cup of vegetable oil and 1 beaten egg. And I'm just using this fork to kind of stir it together. Now I do have my cast iron skillet in the oven while it's preheating to 400 degrees to get it really nice and hot, and that will expedite the cooking process. It'll also make that cornbread really nice and crispy around the edges, which is so good for cornbread. So I believe this is looking about as mixed together as we're gonna get it. Let's see. Yep, looks good to me. Can smell that buttermilk. All right, so as soon as our oven preheats, we'll get that pan out and get this in there. So the cornbread's gonna cook in there for about 25 to 30 minutes. We'll check it around 25 and see what it looks like. If only y'all could smell how delicious this cornbread smells. I cannot wait for that cornbread crumbled into these pinto beans. I don't know whether or not I'll enjoy the mac and cheese over here or not, but I know the others will. I'm just looking forward to this cozy dinner. All right, guys, well, y'all can see it's dark now, but we got everything accomplished today. I got all my cleaning done, laundry folded and put away, and dinner is ready for us. So I'm gonna kick back and enjoy this evening, put my feet up, read a good book, and I will see you in the next one. So until then, remember to live simply, use what you have, enjoy the moments you've been given, and I'll see you next time.